Hello everybody, it's Katrina with Cats, Cards, and Crafts, and I'm here today to just run through this quick little card. I've tried to do most of the die cutting and all ahead of time, but I do have the dimensions here for you somewhere as we go through this. We're using today a couple of different things. We're using the balloon festoon bundle. I used this stamp and I used several of these die cuts to create our balloons here. And we are using the beautiful Ordinary paper, which I just adore. It's this paper here. So you can see it's got a lot of different color. It's very colorful. It's got the stripes. It's got this one here. It's got a honeycomb on the back of this. One thing that I really like about this paper is that it is color print on one side, and all of them are black and white on the other side. So you can use it in a lot of different ways. Especially if you got your little markers, you could use it. You can still make it colorful. So we're going to use that paper. You can see that I've got some pieces here already cut out. And I've got a bunch of balloon strings and a bunch of balloons. This is a shadow box card that I'm casing from somebody, and I don't remember her name, and I should have looked it up before I got on here. Let me see if I can find my strip that's got all my measurements on it so that I can tell you the measurements as we go through. Okay, so the card base itself is 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. So you started with your standard size A2 card base and you took 1/4 of an inch off of it. When we go to put the card together, this shorter side is going to be the back. Okay, it is scored, from the back, it's scored differently, but from the front, it is scored at 4 1/4. So just like your normal, well, nope, it's scored at 4 3/8. I'm sorry, and it's because of the mechanism. So it's scored at 4 3/8, not exactly in the center. Okay. All right, I scored it and then I trimmed it. All right, and then we have this is a shadow box card. So we have our shadow box. Okay, and for our shadow box, the dimension is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, exactly. And you have scored it at 1/2 inch, 4 1/4, and 4 3/4. Okay. One of this designer series paper here is, I don't think I wrote that one down, it is 3 by 5 1/2. And then we have a designer series paper here, which is 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. I went ahead and adhered this. I didn't want to do the die cutting on camera because it would just take a long time because there was a lot of die cutting. Go ahead and adhere this to the card base. When you've got it scored, this piece right here is what's going to go up against this crease right here. So this is the way the card is going to look from the end, when we put it together. So what you want to do is you want to, on this piece right here, you're going to use the arch dies. I can't remember what they're called right this minute, and I've already put them up. But the arch dies, the layered nested arch dies, you're going to use the one, and after you've adhered this, adhere only around these edges. Not in the center, because what you want to do is you want to have these that you can use in another project so that you don't lose them. Here's my other one. So you see those can be used in another project, so we didn't want to waste them. Okay, so we're not going to adhere this just yet, but that's the way it's going to get adhered, like that. And then when you fold it, it's going to fold down flat like that. And it is be a really nice card, and it's still going to fit in an A2 size envelope. Okay. All right. But you go ahead and adhere this and cut that die. Those are your first steps. All right. So now we're going to come across here to the front, and I keep putting it over my stuff. So this is Real Red, which is one of the colors that's in this set. And this is Lemon Lolly, also one of the colors that's in that DSP pack. And we've got, so our next piece here is the yellow Lemon Lolly is 4 by 5 1/4, and then this DSP for the front is 5 3/4 by 5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere those. We're going to first attach them together and then attach them to the card base. And you see how the black and white on this one, I really like that. Coloring that would be a lot of fun. Okay, we're going to center this as best we can and make sure it's really straight. Oh, it's not centered. Okay, let's try again. Put it down, look at 3 sides. Okay, we're going to go with that. It's close. Not really. There we go. That's better. It's still not exactly straight, but it's a lot better. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. The young lady who I copied this, oh, she's the Wandering Stamper. I remembered. The Wandering Stamper is who I'm casing this from, and she showed she showed 3 cards that she had done. One we're using the Moonlit Flora, and one using the Velvet Meadows, and one using the Scenic Coast. All of them were absolutely gorgeous, but like her, I think my favorite was probably the Moonlit Flora. And for a DSP that I really didn't care for initially, that one has just stolen my heart. I really like it. And the Velvet Meadows, I love it too. The velvet just really adds a lot to it. This one here is not floral, and that's kind of why I picked it for this card. A friend of ours had a big surgery here recently, so I'm trying to come up with something, a card to cheer him up and keep him in good spirits, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, to cut this, I took the size that I used here and the next size up and just cut it out, and it's going to make a big difference when we put it right through here. It just makes it look a little more finished and professional. So I think I've told you all that my day job is higher ed. I work in financial aid. And we are coming up on our peak season where we get really, really busy. And it seems like everybody's just holding their breath, waiting for it to all be over. Once we get to mid-July, we are looking for the end of September when we make our first payment run, so because we feel like we can breathe again. And so I'm trying to catch up on some stuff right now, and both at work and here at home, because I don't want to forget anything here with you all. I want to stay on top of this as well as stay on top of that. And I'm trying to get it just where it's just covering the very edge of it there. I maybe should have cut it out of a different size. It just sits right on there, right on the edge. Okay. All right. So that's how our box is looking so far. You can see that this really does add just a finishing touch to it, and it looks nice. And I need one of, I'll just use that block because it's just that corner right there. We'll set that up there. Okay. Now this piece here is going to go on top of this. And these 2 pieces, well, we're just going to measure them for you because I don't know, I don't want to give you the wrong measurements. So this one here is 3 1/2 by 5. And then this one here is 3 1/4 by 5. I'm probably going to trim this one down as it's not 5. Why is it not measuring right? Oh, it's 5 1/4. Haha, 5 1/4. 3 1/2 by 5, or, yep, 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. And this one is 3 by 5. And they're just going to layer on top of each other. And this is where you're going to be able to sign it or put a sentiment, whatever it is that you want to do. I am going to wait and put it in after we have adhered this piece. Now, before we adhere this piece, we're going to do some work here. She stamped, the Wandering Stamper did some stamping in here for her sentiment. I'm not doing that because, I mean, this is a guy, and they're not big into sentiment and all that anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these balloons together, and then I'll trim off the bottom after we put them inside the card. Okay, so there's that one. We'll put that there. I hope I cut enough of them out. We're going to put some on the front as well. Okay, yeah, we've got plenty of them cut out. Okay, let's use a yellow. Look at some of them are shorter than others, and I'm trying to find the shorter ones. I just grabbed some black scrap paper to do this, to cut these out with, and it worked out pretty well, I think. If you're in a hurry, you could definitely use something other than liquid glue to do this, because the liquid glue does take a minute to set. Got 4 more balloons here to do, and then we'll be done with that part. I'm going to have like a cluster of balloons on the inside and then a couple of balloons on the outside. Just trying to cheer somebody up and keep them in good spirits as they recover. I'm not going to put a sentiment on it on camera because I haven't really decided on one yet. It's probably going to be something from the Guy set. I'm like, dude, you know, something like that. Okay, that's the last 2 that I will need. So I've got some extra little balloon strings cut out too. I just kept cutting because I wanted to make sure I had enough. And I did lose count of how many balloons that I cut. One final one. It's a little red one. I toyed with whether or not I was going to use paper to do this, or if I was going to use, I've got some red and white string, which really would have went well with this card. So I toyed, you know, which way to go, but I decided in the end that what I wanted was what we're doing here now. And I even was able to stamp, my stamping lined up really good on this one. I was very happy with that. I came in on this one after I stamped it with some of the Barely Blush shimmer, just to give it a little bit. It's, I know it's not the same color, but I thought that it being the lightest would just give the shimmer and not really change the color of it. I'm going to go ahead while those are sitting there, and I'm going to adhere this. I'm not going to adhere it to the card yet. I'm just going to put this top piece on the base, or not the base, but on the DSP. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And now we're ready to work on this. I'm going to bring this, see if you can see it. Let me come up here and see. Oh yeah, you're in good shape there. All right, so I'm going to try to mix up the colors a little bit and the sizes. And we might put them all together and then take and trim them down so that they fit the way we want them to. All right, so we're just going to, I'm going to take this. We're going to put a little bit of glue, not a whole lot, just right along here so that we can stick it with this one. And then come up here. And that's where we'll put this one right here. I'm not putting a lot of glue, just a tad to hold it together a little bit. Okay, just right like that. Okay, so now when we come over here, we can see that they're not going to fit in there exactly like that. So we're going to grab a straight edge and we're going to mark it so that we can just kind of trim it down a little bit. I'm going to want it to come right here by this fold right here. I wish I had a pencil, but I don't. So I'm just going to use this little marker here. And I'm just going to put a little bitty line there that we can fussy cut. All right, and we don't want to move that. We want to keep it right where it is and then come over here. And we're going to do the same thing. Cut just, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just inside that line. Line it up really nice. And then just come down. And again, I'll cut just inside of it so that it doesn't mess up the folding of the card at all. And my little fussy cutting scissors. All right, so just inside of that, don't want to be able to see the line that I made. There we go, nice clean edge. And then we'll do the same thing over here. It'll be more evident on this one if I miss it because this one is lighter and you'll be able to see it better. But I think I got it, and I didn't get a lot extra either. All right, so now I'm going to just bring these down. See, I want to be able to see them in the window, so they're going to be right there, and that's where I'm going to adhere them, is right there in that section. And I'm going to hit just kind of the outline of the balloons. And then I'm going to hit the strings just a little bit. They won't hang down very far because we'll be trimming most of it off. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to come in here, and again, I want to make sure where it is in the window. So let's come right here. Make sure you're just inside the folds there. Okay. Come right here, and I'm going to pick up this glue, a little bit of glue, extra glue got there. Tack these down with my fingers because there was glue. You don't put just enough glue on there to grab them. Okay, and I can see here that this piece of paper is lagging, it's a little longer. So I'm going to trim that up too. I'm going to come get as close as I can with my fussy cutting scissors. I don't want to catch the red. I only want to catch the white, the back side of that other paper. Ooh, I'm catching a little bit of the red. I really don't want to do that. I don't think we'll be able to tell, though, because of the way the card is going to be made, put together. Oh, no, that's too far. I would take a piece of sandpaper and straighten that out, but I'll do that later. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take and we're going to put this in here. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up these two folds here, the two creases. Can you see where I'm doing, lining this one up with that one? And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put glue. I'm also trying to make sure that my top and bottom are even. I do have a little space on the bottom where it's not even, but that's going to be okay because the card is going to take care of it. The way the card is made, you won't be able to tell. When you're looking at it like this, you can't see that that's uneven down there. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it, press on it some. Okay, so now that piece is adhered the way it needs to. This here, however, is not. So I'm going to put a dab of glue right here. Haha, Kelly, I said it right. Not a gabadoo, but a dab of glue. Okay. All right, so that part is good. And then all we have left now is to adhere this right here. And to do that, I'm just going to come here with a little bitty line of glue. And that's where this comes in extremely handy, is because I can put just the smallest bit of glue. Okay. And hold it. And in this case, I am actually going to hold it together for a second or two so that it can adhere well. Okay. So now it sits up and displays like that. You've got your little shadow box there. And we're going to flip right over here. And we're going to put some glue on this back side so that it will all stay together. Okay. There we go. Very nice. For the first run at this, I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out. Okay, so now we're going to just bring these down and we're going to work on these last 4 balloons, and these are the ones that are going to go on the front. Okay, and we're going to kind of do it the same way. We're just going to start by just putting them together. So we'll start with this pretty peacock. This is Lost Lagoon, Real Red, and Lemon Lolly. Or Lolly Lemon, one of them. Okay, this time I'm going to try to get so that it looks like a bouquet of So it looks like a bouquet of balloons is what I'm trying to do. So I want them to kind of come together before they exit the card, before the strings exit the card. Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit on this one. And for this one here, I think we're just going to have it come down between these two, kind of like this. Maybe even up higher. Yeah, like that. See, and we're coming all together right here, so that's good. I'm liking that. And this one, let's see, some glue along here. And there we go. Okay, so we've got all of them coming together right here. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that that's on my card so that everybody sees that it was an intentional thing. We made a bouquet, and we wanted to make a bouquet of these balloons. So I'm just going to tack a little bit of glue to hold them together. And then we're going to bring our card, and we see when we fold it, it's not folding as flat as I would like, but that's okay. It's still fine. Like I said, this is the first attempt at this type of card, so it'll get better. There's never any expectation, for me anyway, that everything is going to turn out perfect the first time. I'm always, looking to improve I want them to get better, but I do take into account the first few times I make something, that it is the first few times I've made something, I'm making that type of thing. I'm going to put the dab of glue right there. Now I'm going to tilt them this way. Keep them all on the card. Come down just a tad. And then hold this right here. Now, with this, I've got a little extra glue here. I'll take that off with my little eraser, my little rubber eraser here. I'll take that off after it's got a minute to cure. I'm going to come in here. I'm not going to adhere these. I'm just trimming them. I'm just going to let them be loose because this part is adhered. All right, so that is that. I do kind of like this. I think it's a pretty card front. I wish that it laid flatter, and I'll probably put it under one of the large block, which there it is. This really large heavy block, I'll probably keep it under it until I take it to work tomorrow to give to someone to take to our friend. That way it'll help it flatten out some. But we're not quite done because we have one more layer to put in there. This I would not make this card to mail because it would probably be expensive to mail it. But we want to come in and put right here, this piece right here. Okay, now you can see why the dimensions on this one were a little different. It's because that piece is not as wide as the other pieces on the card. I'm just taking my little glue press and putting the glue on it just like you all have seen me do 100 times by now. Make my little X, or make my little square around the edges, and then make my X in the middle. And then I'm going to line it up on here, and it's going to go almost top to bottom, but not quite. And we're going to have just a little lip on both sides. There we go. I had some issues with the glue today, didn't I? There we go. Okay, I'm going to give that plenty of time to cure before I close it back up because I don't want to mess it up. So make sure the glue is good and dry before we close it. But that's it, except for I do have the bling, the embellishments that came with the Beautiful Ordinary suite were the array of dots. That's deer dots. So I'm going to see if any of those would look good on it. And I'm sure they will. I think we used them yesterday. I don't know if I taped yesterday. And if I have, I know I didn't show it. I haven't, posted it anywhere. Yep, this is them, the array of dots. So we're going to put a couple of those on there. And you can see that I pulled those exact colors out of, what I was doing. I pulled the same colors to utilize in this. And then we're going to put, then the last thing is I've got the white gel marker here. We're going to put some of that on there. All right, so I'm going to pull just a couple. I'll do one there. Where's my little, there it is. To pick up the gems and maneuver the gems, I've become very partial of this little spatula thing here on the tool that we've got, and I'm liking it really well. Makes it much easier for me. Okay, and there's our little gems on it now. You could put some on the inside too if you wanted to. I'm just opting not to in this instance. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is we just want to put some little highlights on this. Okay, so usually it's up near the top on one side or the other. So So that's what we're doing right here. Just little curly Q highlight spots for the balloons. That set, the balloon festoon, it does come with them that you can cut out and put on there. The yellow doesn't have any because the red is hiding it. Now we'll come over here and we'll do the same thing on the inside. Just a couple of little spots to give a highlight. This time the Lost Lagoon is not going to have any because it's hidden by the window here. Okay. All right, and that does it. It is done. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have questions or anything like that. I will eventually get all the dimensions documented so that you can use it. Okay, so here's the card itself, and then when we open it, beautiful, beautiful. And it sits up like a little shadow box. And remember, just because we only have the one layer in here doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it. You can certainly come in and put multiple layers in here and make it more like a shadow box. Thanks. You all have a great evening.